because we got the World Cup coming up this year, 2022 Qatar. And we're going to have a new winner. We're going to have a new champion. From 2006 and on, I saw every World Cup final, and I saw the teams that performed in these tournaments. I was really curious to see what has been the best World Cup team since 2006 that has won the tournament. Okay. We had the 2006 Italian team. We have the 2010 Spain team, the 2014 German team, and the 2018 French team.
Yeah.
All four really awesome teams that won it in their own specific ways. Yeah. I want to do a deep dive on each team before we decide on which one we think is the best. I released a poll on YouTube asking, since 2006, there have been 4 title-winning World Cup teams. Which one do you think is the best? The number one answer was 2010 Spain with 68% of votes. Something that I want to point out that I thought was fascinating when doing my research about each one of these teams is that they each have a blip on the resume. They each have a game where they didn't fully realize themselves or dominate. So we're going to start with 2006 Italy, who, man, this team was known as a defensive powerhouse. They only allowed 2 goals the entire tournament.
My God.
2 single goals, one of which was an own goal, and the other one which was a penalty in the final. That's insane.
Holy shit. So no clear run of the play goals.
No clear run of the play goals. None.
Wow.
Italy was a defensive,
that's impressive.
They were so stout. All 23 players that were called up played in Serie A as well. Not a single one in England,
domestic
Germany,
as fuck.
Or Spanish. Super domestic.
Yeah.
Buffon, Zambrotta, De Rossi, Del Piero, Gilardino, Gattuso, Totti, Pirlo, Cannavaro. Just some names. This was obviously Italy's golden generation. Yeah. Just legends on legends on legends.
Yeah.
An awesome team to root for. Their blip was that they tied the U.S. in the group stages. They tied the U.S. 1-1. They won the other 2 games. They exited with 7 points. They progressed on. They won their matches, but I want to talk about 2 specific games. That semifinal against Germany. Honestly, one of the first iconic matches I saw as a human, because Italy went to extra time against Germany, and they ended up scoring 2 goals, one off of a beautiful Pirlo assist, and then an awesome counterattack that finalized with Del Piero striking it in the corner of the goal.
I've seen that
and
highlight.
Just being so goddamn high. Have you ever seen the Italian commentary of that goal?
Yes.
It's fucking insane, man.
Lo mette fuori Cannavaro. Poi ancora insiste Podolski. Cannavaro. Via il contropiede con Totti. Dentro il pallone per Gilardino. Gilardino la può tenere anche vicino alla bandierina. Cerca l'1 contro 1. Gilardino. Dentro Del Piero. Gol! Alex Del Piero. Chiudendo le valigie. Andiamo a Berlino.
But an awesome game that resulted in Italy winning and progressing to the final. Keep in mind, they did that while playing Germany at home. Germany was hosting the tournament.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They win the game, clean sheet. They go to the final, which is also one of the most iconic finals that I think I've seen. The French 2006 team taking Italy to extra time into penalties. Zidane's famous headbutt happened in this game. And at the end of the day, we have Italy winning on penalties and becoming world champions. We saw Cannavaro lift the trophy. The captain the team to the championship.
Yeah.
And that's 2006 Italy. 2010 Spanish team. Casillas. They had Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets,
Villa.
Pedro, Villa. And then on defense, Puyol, Piqué, Ramos.
Yeah. Hey, right back Ramos.
Right back Ramos.
One of my favorite versions of Ramos, man. Right back Ramos. That guy was insane.
Yeah.
He was mentally insane. He had no regard for his position. He just knew he was good.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked beautifully.
And this team allowed him to have that role.
They allowed him. This team was dope. This team was truly dope. Yeah. And Ramos was a part of that.
I think that's why people have such an affinity for this team. Because I think of
Tiki-taka, right?
Yeah. I think of all the teams that are the most appealing and it's so easy to root for because of the style of play and also the players that they had.
Yeah, there was a great comment, I think, in one of those polls that said, what was so special about that Spanish team is that they never were really out of control.
Yes.
They never, in any of their games, even though every single game was tight, you almost knew that this Spanish team was somehow going to pull it off.
Yeah.
The thing is, they themselves had that belief. They were so offensive, but also so patient. And that's another point that was made was that they didn't dazzle per se, but they still entertained like crazy because of their style.
Yeah.
It was something we've never seen before.
Their style did allow them to be entertained more. They definitely were always in control, but there were moments in this World Cup where they had lapses. Let's start with their flaw. Their biggest flaw is their opening game. They're the only team of these four that actually lost a game in the World Cup.
Statistically, if you lose your first game in the World Cup, you don't even get out of the group stage.
Jeez.
Statistically. And they went on to win it.
Yeah, they lost against Switzerland 1-0. Dude, after seeing that, to think that you're going to go on and win the World Cup,
yeah, man.
That's something. But I guess that's a testament to their mentality because they just took it.
They're just like, shit, we can do better than this, and they did.
David Villa led them offensively with 5 goals. They scored 8 goals total. He's had 5 of them that whole tournament.
Yeah.
So he was just unreal that tournament.
Oh, David Villa was, he put himself on the radar that tournament as far as like to the world. At that time, like I said, I didn't know what soccer was because it was my first tournament, but I knew that Villa was good.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah.
It could just be obviously because of the goals he scores. Like, oh man, this guy's a cut above the rest.
Yeah. He was just so hardworking, man. Like you could tell he was so passionate, and he just wanted it more than all the other players. Domestically, or at least within the squad, they had all but 3 players playing in Spain. I think Fernando Torres was one of them. Pepe Reina was another, and then Fabregas was at Arsenal, I think.
Yeah.
And so, same with Italy. Most players played domestically, and it's kind of interesting how that kind of happens, you know?
Yeah.
Every knockout match for Spain
1-0
ended up 1-0.
I didn't know.
I had no idea until someone pointed it out. I was like, whoa.
During the middle of the pandemic, like I said, I rewatched a lot of these games. Dude, Spain low-key got lucky.
Yeah.
Low-key, purely won some of these games down to luck.
Yeah.
The quarterfinal game against Paraguay.
So I was going to bring
when
up.
This game is destined for extra time and penalties. And somehow, some way, they get a late 85th minute goal.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't meant to be, but somehow they get a little lucky. Against Tata Martino, by the way.
Hey!
Hey, shout out. But that Paraguayan team was not budging. Not budging. At the end of the day, Spain just stuck to their guns. They kept patient and got that one chance. But I think that's also testament to how patient this tiki-taka style was.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day,
it worked.
Over 90 minutes, it worked.
Paraguay missed a penalty in the first half.
Yeah,
They missed a penalty, bro.
Yeah.
I think it got saved. And then Spain had a penalty as well, and they missed theirs.
Yeah.
Oh, so dude, that's just right. Luck, man. Like that game specifically just had the makings of like
not good.
It's a flip of a coin. Just whoever gets it gets and just goes. They went on to the semifinals and they faced Germany.
And I rewatched that entire Germany game, which, by the way, they themselves were on a path to greatness. Even in this tournament.
Germany.
Yeah. They themselves had their own narrative. Like, you could have watched that entire tournament and just watched Germany, and you could have crafted an entire story from that team, man. It was bizarre.
Damn.
They had so many incredible players just coming through the ranks, like just before their prime, but hitting their stride. They had an incredible tournament, and that game too, so even. There were so many chances where low-key, if Germany just maybe got a little bit lucky through the ref, finished their chances, could have won the game 1-0 themselves.
That up to that point, it also looked like the tournament was shaping up for Germany because they had just beaten Argentina.
Yes.
And they dismantled an Argentina team that was good. I also noticed that beginning in 2010, the team that won the championship faced off against the next winner. Spain faced off against Germany. Spain wins. Germany wins the next World Cup.
Right.
The next World Cup, Germany on the way to the World Cup face France.
Right.
France then goes on to win the World Cup.
Oh,
France, depending, let's see who they face. Peru. Hey, that was a great game that ultimately was won by the heart and testament of Puyol getting that header and winning the game 1-0. Once again, adding on to what we're saying about them just mentally having the strength and the patience to grind out a result. That was on full display in the final when they played against the Netherlands. In a fucking gruesome final, man.
Yeah.
Gruesome.
Yeah.
Violent. Almost like some 300 shit, you know? With like the
it's
plays
it's a true battle.
Yeah, a true battle.
A grind.
And it had elements of everything that we're talking about right now. Luck.
The 50-50 shit, man. I mean, think of the Robin chance.
Mm-hmm.
Snyder had a couple of just outside the box bangers that he could have hit, maybe. But just on this game, didn't. Netherlands easily could have won this game. And then at the end of the day, goes to extra time, and Spain pulled it off. Without going to pens, man. It's crazy.
You also have to add in the performances in the 2008 Euros and the 2012 Euros where they were incredible.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what makes up the allure for this.
The Spanish dynasty.
Yeah,
right.
They're
winning 3 international tournaments in a row. I don't think it's actually ever been done before, honestly.
Yeah.
But also the idea that, like, at the time, Messi, Ronaldo were going through Barcelona and Real Madrid at the time. So La Liga was really on the spotlight. And so for them to have a mainly domestic team win the tournament, I think really put people on La Liga. And I think that's why it's also still fondly remembered as such a great team.
Yes.
Because there's that somehow Messi affiliation to the league, Ronaldo affiliation, right? When you think La Liga, you think of those 2 players, even now. As we'll get onto it, I don't think they're the best team out of these 4.
Okay. All right.
And we'll keep
Let's
going.
continue. We move on to 2014 Germany playing in Brazil.
What a World Cup.
What a World Cup, man. God. Neuer, Hummels, Schweinsteiger, Ozil,
Götze,
Klose, Muller, Lahm, Kroos. Just a few names. Just something for you to dabble with.
Just studs at every position, basically.
Studs, but like disciplined players.
Yeah, like you wouldn't say flair, you wouldn't say tiki-taka, but you would say incredibly technical, decisive to the degree, like a surgeon picking apart like their opponent.
Yeah, merciless, emotionless.
Yeah, robotic,
dude.
Yeah, robotic.
They had everyone but 6 players played in Germany.
2/3 of the team domestic.
Yeah, 2/3. Thomas Muller, who turns into God in World Cups. What David Villa was for Spain in the World Cup, that's what Thomas Muller was for Germany.
Yeah.
So involved, so clinical, and just the heart of the team offensively, man.
What's crazy about this German team is, this is going to be a hot take to an extent, but I think they only got tested once before going to the final. One time.
Okay.
And they had three group stage games. So Portugal, we don't talk about that game.
They dominated.
It was just it wasn't even a contest. Man, they got manhandled. Portugal got manhandled. Germany picked them apart. Then
Portugal had an awful tournament.
Oh, they were terrible.
That was awful. That was a bad day for Portuguese people.
Bad, dude. It was really, really bad. Then they had the U.S. and Ghana in the rest of the group. And for the most part, like, they didn't seem troubled.
I don't know. They had to grind out a 1-0 result against the U.S. and then they tied Ghana.
But at that point, I don't think they were ever similar to the Spain point. I don't think they ever were really in trouble.
Ghana was up 2-1 on them. They had to get a result in the last 20 minutes. That's being up against the wall for sure.
Result-wise, sure. But then you could say the same thing about Spain being 0-0 for 90, 80 minutes. Are Spain actually dominating if they're not scoring? But at the end of the day, I saw this German team is truly just going to win the game at the end of the day. I never saw this German team losing. The only time that I saw them losing was in the round of 16 against Algeria, which is crazy to say because Algeria had no right to play so well against Germany.
Oh, dude, they played the best game that country has ever played in the World Cup, man.
Exactly. That was the only time where I actually thought Algeria were better than Germany, or a team was truly better than Germany. But at the end of the day, they still somehow pulled it off. Yeah. They go on to face Argentina and France. France.
That was easy for them.
Yeah. So disappointing.
That was disappointing.
France was horrible.
That was such a boring game. I remember it.
It was terrible.
They just took care of business.
Yeah, they got an early goal, I think, through Hummels, right?
Yeah.
I think in the 15th minute. Yeah. And again, just saw the game out. France were too scared to really attack them, or maybe just didn't know how.
They're young.
And that was it. Yeah, they were. I mean, it was a young Griezmann, too. I remember that.
Yeah, and Pogba and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the semifinal. Let's just talk about that.
Oh,
that's a huge. That's iconic. That's just like, that has to be mentioned.
I guess.
The Brazil, Germany debacle.
I still don't know what happened in that match.
I feel like that was the type of game where that's some Rick and Morty shit, man. Like where we saw like a
alternate universe
type shit. Like it just happened. Like we are that universe.
Yeah.
Let me know that we're not on the normal timeline. We're on something slightly off kilter.
Slightly off kilter for sure.
Yeah, because 7-1 Brazil in Brazil. Dude, the highlights are like low key. It's like it should be criminal to watch those highlights because it feels wrong to see Brazilians be that hurt, that emotionally defeated. It feels really fucked up to watch that, man.
It really is fucked up because you see the way the Germans react. and they're not even happy. They're just like, we do this on a daily basis.
And I think that actually made it worse, man.
Yeah.
Like
imagine if they were happy after scoring every goal. I would have been like, oh, good for them. But they after goal after goal, they were like, yeah, this is what we expected.
Deadly German team, man, and that adds to it. That's salt to the wound. They make it to the final, and they face off against Argentina.
This game for me was very similar to the Spain-Netherlands game, where it was actually 50-50. If Lautaro Martinez was playing instead of Higuaín or Rodrigo Palacios, maybe Messi lifts that trophy at the end of the day.
Don't say that, man.
Yeah.
That just sounds painful, man.
But unfortunately, they didn't have Martinez or Dybala in front. Instead, he had Higuaín, right? Who was a good player, but, man, in that game just was not.
Yeah, scuffed it, man.
Scuffed it. And that's what it came down to, honestly, was just poor finishing for Argentina. Goes to extra time, and Götze gets the winning goal. It was a beautiful goal.
Super Mario. Yeah.
It was Super Mario. Beautiful goal. And Germany deserved it. I mean, they still had their chances too. That game for me was truly 50-50 in the sense of chances. Germany, at the end of the day, I thought were the better team throughout the entire tournament. Yeah. So overall, very happy that Germany lifted that trophy at the end of the day, because I thought they were the best team in the world.
I thought Germany was so dominant, man. That's what I saw. I saw such a dominant side. And that's the thing with all these World Cup winners. I'm actually content with them, and like in the sense that they deserved it. It's not like they
got robbed.
Lastly, before we decide which one was the best of these four, we have the most recent World Cup title holder, the 2018 French team that won in Russia. Griezmann, Pogba, Mbappe, Pavard, Kanté, Umtiti, Varane, Hernandez, Lloris. To me, one of the most non-controversial World Cup winners.
Yeah.
Every game that they won, every result that they pulled off just made sense to me. Straight up, we are better than you. Yep. We're going to show you. We're going to dominate the game. We're going to take care of business. And we're going to move on to next round.
Where Spain lost the game and won the rest of them 1-0. Where Germany had to take it to the death against Algeria and
tied Ghana.
Get a little lucky against Argentina. France experienced none of that.
No, none.
None of that. Every single opponent they faced was met with pure domination and just, we're better than you, as you just put it. And yeah, you could say that Argentina game was interesting because it was so high scoring and it was very tight scoring wise. But for me, France was still miles ahead of Argentina.
The game was 4-2 at one point.
It was 4-2, and it took a late goal to make it 4-3. The thing is, France was down in that game, I think 2-1 at one point. Yeah, but again, even in that moment, I was like, France are the better team. They should not be losing this game, and they ultimately ended up winning it. For me, at the end of the day, this team is the best. Out of these four that we've said, this is the most dominant team out of all four of these. Simply because even if they had played maybe slightly better teams along the way, I still think it would have been the same outcome. I really do. Wow. I don't think there was a team at that tournament. I didn't expect that. There's not a team at this tournament that would have actually challenged them, because at that moment, every single player in that team was in their prime and in form. Yeah. And they could not be stopped.
They couldn't get beaten. A lot of people were saying that the final for them was the game against Belgium. That ended up just 1-0.
And I thought Belgium underwhelmed in that game. And I know a lot of people were really proud that Belgium got there. I wanted more from Belgium in that game.
Same.
I wanted Belgium to win that game, because that would have completely glorified all the hard work that that Belgium have been doing for the past 8 years. It would have finally culminated in a huge win against France. And instead, it was very similar to,
like, when you just meet up with a better opponent and you just kind of pipe down.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Because they had just beaten up
exactly what
Brazil.
Happened.
The game against Brazil was one of the most, like, incredible displays I've seen, because I was like, that was a Belgium we have arrived moment.
Yes.
I was like, Belgium just beat a good Brazilian team.
I thought it was going to be even against France. Yep. Truly even, where it's just back and forth. Who's going to win this? But even though scoring-wise it was tight, France dominated, man.
France dominated. I think there's an argument here for the French team being the best team in terms of the tournament they put together. Their only flaw really was when they tied Denmark 0-0.
Sure.
That's the only one.
Hey, that Denmark team was good, though.
Yeah, it was.
They were good.
It was. They made it out of the group with them. Like I said, it's the least controversial team. So therefore, if you look solely at their experience at this tournament or at any World Cup tournament, there is an argument there. So I do hear you out for sure. You are heard. To say a little bit more things about France, they had a rising star in Mbappe who showed up like no other.
Oh my God.
I've never seen a young player perform at that level in the World Cup.
And truly like reach the potential that people wanted him to. People were saying like, can Mbappe like show out in this tournament? And he did. Like he did.
Yeah. This French team was the second youngest team to win the World Cup. They had an average age of 24.
My God.
Yeah. I think this tournament found those players at just the perfect time.
Yes.
And it resulted in this.
Absolutely.
They played
pure domination.
Yeah, pure domination. They played really fast-paced football. Yeah. They were deadly on counters, and they were also really good at set pieces. The defenders could score. Giroud up top could handle the ball, could hold up play. Mbappe was electric. Griezmann was clinical. Yeah. And then the midfield just full of studs. Kante, Matuidi, Pogba. Like the whole team was just so formidable at each position.
I remember being slightly pissed because up until that point, all the World Cups I had seen, the team that went on to win it had a moment where they could have not won it.
Yeah.
And I remember every game I geared up for the France game. I was like, okay, let's see how this team does.
Yeah, it's coming.
That's coming. And every time within like the first 30, 40 minutes, I was like, France is winning this game.
Yeah.
And I've never felt that before in a World Cup until France did in 2018.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why there's less allure attached to this French team.
Yeah. Because it was so easy for them.
Yeah.
It truly was. And again, I know people are going to be like, nah, fuck France. Like, it was a shitty World Cup or some bullshit. This team was incredible. Pound for pound, they were better than every other opponent they faced. And even if they didn't face them, they still would have been pound for pound better than them.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, when I look at these four teams, let's recap. 2006 Italy, a defensive powerhouse. 2010 Spain, tiki-taka. 2014 Germany, merciless, deadly, technical. Yeah. And then 2018 France, fast, clinical, smart, aggressive. When I look at the four teams, to me, the best team is Italy.
Yeah,
I'm on 2006 Italy side.
You like that defense?
I like that defense.
But that is impressive.
That is
truly
to
impressive.
not concede an actual open play goal is super impressive for me. To pull that off is insane over what, 7 games?
7 games and not a run of the play goal.
And then you look at their setup. It's not like they were just park the bus and not let the team score, and that's how you pulled it off. Yeah. They were very good offensively. They were able to get the goals they needed to get in order to move on to the next round.
As well as just being crazy good defensively.
Yeah. And so I think that's what I love about international teams. I feel like it's harder to dissect how far the gap is between the quality of these teams. Yeah. It's not as clear cut, man.
It really is.
I think there's an argument for every team.
Oh yeah. I mean the thing is, if you could obviously somehow pit these teams together, I don't think France would easily win these games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I'm saying, I think they're the best out of these 4, I still think these would be insane.
Yeah, like
even France against 2010 Spain.
2010 Spain. Who wins that matchup?
The clash of style would be insane.
Insane, dude. Based on opinion, our viewers think Spain 2010, which I honestly completely understand.
I won't disagree with them. I mean, they're incredible.
Yeah.
I won't disagree. You could convince me any World Cup team was the best team in the world overall. And the thing is, it gets me thinking about how special it is that the World Cup is every 4 years, because that's a long time.
Yeah.
4 years can go by so quickly, obviously, but in the span of things, especially in the digital age, 4 years is a long time, man. Yeah, man. And we're already seeing it. 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, now 2022. Dude, every World Cup has had a different style of play.
Yeah.
Every single one. And we're about to see truly what I think is the new age of football in 2022. Yeah. This is going to be how 2010 was for the start of the modern era. I think 2022 is going to be the start of the new age of football, because this will be the last World Cup for Messi and Ronaldo that we idolized for the last 12 years. This is it. And now we're going to see the beginning of the new age. This is going to be the start of that.
Yeah. And VAR coming in too, but more established as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a big one too. Everything seems more set in stone now coming into this tournament, that I think the outcome is going to be really interesting to see. A lot is going to root back to the 2022 World Cup, possibly.
I think so.
Because of where the game is right now.
It's the last World Cup with 32 teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, this is it. Like, this is it. Enjoy what you can.
Yeah, man.